Hey guys, SeanB here. Today we are talking about this particular dungeon because we recently got the auto repeat battle for Dimension Hole, which means a lot of people will be looking to farm more ancient will runes, which will be dropping from this particular dungeon. In this dungeon, it dropped Despair, Nemesis, and Will, the three sets that are pretty good for PvP after Violent and Swift. If you take a look at the ranking, the best team is actually not a win team, but most of them are water, or all of the best team are water team, even though this is a water boss. And it is a variation of the water twin, Galleon, and something, mostly Teor or Barbara or Susano. I have personally tried a water team, and my stats are not too bad. I saw twitch.tv/OnceInLove water team as well, which he featured a water beast rider, Barbara, and he runs similar stat to mine. Unfortunately, I don't have a Barbara or Teor to replicate the team for you. I'm trying to run with Theo, Susano, or Sigmarus, and not really good. The success rate is kinda shit. Before we go into the team building aspect, this is what I am using personally for the past 50 energy, and I fail like once, which is acceptable in my opinion. The dungeon is not easy in any shape or form. I have Bernard on crit damage build, speed, crit damage and attack, violent build, and okay enough accuracy. Orochi is on my leftover rage rune, speed, crit damage and attack. I don't even have over 200 crit damage. That is a shame. Wind Panda is using normal Wind Panda runes, which means speed, defense, and defense. Have some accuracy for defense break. Wind Panda is only here because I need the defense break to be consistent. You cannot put a Lauren here, or else I would. But the next best replacement for defense break that is equivalent to a Lauren is this bad boy right here. Lastly, my heavy damage dealer, attack with damage, attack, Yin. Very good for this dungeon. You probably build one for your siege as well if you are somewhere in the end or mid game player. This team will have no problem in the trash wave. In the first wave of the boss, I target Shannon because even with Wind Panda, I might miss defense break. And when the boss has defense buff, it takes forever to kill. So I target the Shannon first. It takes like 3 turns to kill the Shannon, so it's not really that long. It might add 2-3 seconds to your runtime, but I think it's really worth it. In this particular stage, I think Speed Lead and Bernard is super valuable because if you can move twice before the Beleners take a turn, that right there is the biggest reason why everybody loses in this dungeon. That guy, he can wipe the entire team on his own. But if you take 2 turns before he moves, there's a very good chance you're gonna kill the boss before he take a turn. In wave 3, I always lose a unit. But because Wind Panda, if you build him with decent amount of HP, he will not die. If Wind Panda survive, Bernard will probably survive if you build her on HP, then you're gonna be okay with defense break. And if Orochi or Yin survive, we're gonna do enough damage, especially with Bernard on crit damage. For me personally, I don't really use Bernard for anything else besides this, so I can run him on violent, but I think a swift build is okay. If you saw Foxy guy before for this dungeon, he was running a swift Bernard and he claimed his team was doing well, so I think it's gonna be okay if you run a swift Bernard too. But if I'm running a crit damage slow-ish Bernard to move last, to get your attack bar going twice before the Beleners take a turn, can make a small difference whether you lose or win. Also, slow violent Bernard allow you to build the Bernard with crit rate and crit damage, and believe me, Bernard can do some very good damage. As you can see right there, even Wind Panda can miss defense break. That's why I go straight for the Shannon, man. When the defense buff go up, it's very annoying. Right here, it's very important to have defense break. This is another reason why I don't run Chasun even though I have one. But without defense break, it's very hard to kill the boss. Orochi AI is not the best. So hoping Orochi to do skill 3 is like hoping your ex-girlfriend texts you back. It doesn't really happen, but when it happens, you're quite happy. But still, I need a defense break. Chasun attack buff is good and all, but what allows you to do the most damage is still gonna be defense break. This is probably the most popular team and sort of in between free to play and pay to win, because the unit right here, they're not exactly obtainable, but they're not exactly hard to obtain. So you might come across a Chasun, Orochi, or Yin when you play the game, but with how large the pool of monster is right now in the game, someone who started playing recently might not have the monster. And these are not the monster that you get from the Nat 4 event as well. So this is the team where it stays in between free to play friendly and sort of premium. Okay, Chasun healing is really good, attack buff is really good for these units. They do damage according to attack power, so not bad. But I've seen my team wipe before because I just don't have defense break in the wave number 2, and without defense break, it's very hard to kill the boss fast. And then there's that dumb Dryad right there that will put all the debuff back to your team because you're not killing the boss fast enough. Lucky my Orochi resisted that, but right here is the reason why a lot of people will fail. The Baroness AoE control, AoE team wipe is just way too good. way too good. But if you pass the second stage, the third stage is usually not a big problem. If the boss focus on your Bernard or Chasun, it's an easy win. But if you lose a unit, as long as you have Bernard defense break and 1 damage dealer left, you're gonna be okay. If we are moving down to the budget lane, then you'll be rocking Ramahan and Shannon. I don't have my Shannon 2A because I don't really use her, but a normal Shannon can do the job just fine. When you 2A your Shannon, your skill 1 and skill 2 will have attack bar absorption, which make her really good on violent, keep absorbing attack bar, keep getting more turns, and the buff will be up very often. Ramahan is one of the best free to play damage dealer for this particular dungeon. You can run rage, you can run violent, you can run whatever, you know, triple guard. As long as he has accuracy and damage output, you're gonna be okay. Let's say if your runes are not there yet and you want to run a reviver in there to make it safe because you cannot kill the boss fast enough. Eladriel or Taranys might be really good for you if you have them. If you don't want to run a Yin or Orochi, then you can switch in another healer to make it even safer. If you have a Wind Beast Rider, definitely gonna throw her in as well. I will still keep the Bernard because even though Savanah is absolutely broken, as we all know, but the defense break has 5 turn cooldown, and her AI is not exactly super smart. She has a strip, which is not bad, but if you rely on her for the speed buff and the defense break, Bernard is, in my opinion, 100% better than Savanah in terms of the speed buff and the defense break. But if you want to use her as a secondary buffer damage dealer, then she is really good. If you have your core that is Bernard Chasun and you want to play with or the Wind unit, then there are many Wind units to play around with. I think this guy is really good. Defense break, attack by pushback, slow debuff, solid unit for this dungeon. And then we have this guy who also do the same thing with damage, defense break, and attack by absorption. I think she's also very underrated, but I don't have a build, so I can't really show her. But we have big damage here with attack by absorption. We have big damage here, and then we have slow debuff here, AoE as well. So it's gonna be good for controlling the 2 unit on the side. If we're talking Nat 5, then there are many Nat 5 that are good for this dungeon, which I don't have. For example, Ciara for the bomb and the damage, Ethna for the buff stealing, which is very good as well, because if you don't want to deal with a Shannon and then the Shannon buff, you can steal the buff and Ethna can do good damage, has dot in skill 1. She's perfect for the dungeon. Diana can strip the boss as well, meanwhile being unkillable in this dungeon. If you want a support unit but you don't want to run Chasun, you can actually run a Louise with big healing, shield, and immunity. It's just very good for the dungeon too. There are many ways to run this, and these are the unit I don't have. I think Odin's good for stealing buff and doing damage. With Ryu, if you have one, for stripping and doing damage. Also attack break, branding, really good. I don't have a Wind Martial Cat on my main account, but I think Wind Martial Cat can also be a very solid damage dealer, especially if you have defense break on the boss. You don't even have to run any crit rate on her, and she's gonna do so much damage as well. This is the unit that I think is gonna be very good for a free-to-play team. She can heal, extend buff, revive, and it's not really that hard to build a Michelle. And also you can get skill up with summoning 3-star Rina and Michelle. So she's a very good 3-star unit for this dungeon, and it is sort of free to play friendly. I don't have her build. Foxy's having her build on his beginner account, but from my experience running Reviver in this dungeon, I think she's gonna do a fantastic job keeping your team alive with healing as well as reviving in case things go wrong, which things will go wrong. But if you want to be premium, you can also run a team like this. You have healing, defense break, revive, speed buff, and HP lead, which make your team super tanky, hard to kill, and you cover pretty much all the weak point except for maybe immunity. But if you have a Louise, hey, you can use that in the place of Taranys or maybe Bernard, and then your team will be premium, tanky, but it's gonna be a slow run from what I can see. The moment you put any sort of reviver in your team, it's gonna be slower. I build my Taranys on crit damage, but Taranys never buff defense until somebody's almost dying or he needs to revive somebody. So he would not do a lot of damage against the enemy team. And I don't really have Strip in this team as well. I don't have Ethna or Diana, which is unfortunate. Can't really show that unit in this dungeon, but I think we're gonna be okay because we have a lot of safety net here with defense buff, healing, damage, HP lead. I think we're gonna be okay. And the AoE of Black Maron can also allow you to control the side unit. So there are many ways to run this dungeon. Whichever way depends on what you have in your box, because even though I say Orochi or Yin might be very obtainable to a lot of you guys out there, but still, because of your preference, you may not have those units built, but you do have the Nat 5 win unit that I mentioned, like Ethna, Diana, or Ciara, then you might want to run them. Let's say you can run a team like Ciara, Chasun, Eladriel, and Bernard, which is super safe, and you probably will never die because you have Chasun and Eladriel in the same team. But hey, I don't know what you have, so it's really hard for me to suggest a team and show every possible team, but those are what I think you can use in the dungeon. So this is not a very fast run, but it's not a bad run. You know, it's not a bad run. So I don't know if this guy was repetitive or not, because this content has been out for a very long time and people have made multiple videos on this. Personally, I haven't made any video on this, but I also watched them and learned how they do this dungeon. That's why I come up with this team in the end. I think this is the best team that I can have, that I'll be using. I'm not sure if I pull an Ethna or Ciara or Diana, will I make the team different? Maybe take out a Wind Panda for Ethna, I'm not too sure just yet. But right now, this is my team that I really enjoy using. And I hope that you will farm this dungeon as well when you're done with your 2A or when you're done with your triple Icaro, because I have gotten quite a good number of good runes since yesterday, spending 100 energy, maybe 1 or 2 good runes, which is not bad. And if I want to sit down and farm Dimension Hole once a week, when I stock up on 100 energy, that will be a pretty good session, because Ancient Rune is not amazing in terms of the stat, but the grinds that you can get is really amazing. Blue grind give you up to 8% when you grind an Ancient Rune, so you can have like a mediocre rune turn to a very good rune in an instant with an Ancient grind that go 8%. That is almost a legend grind for normal rune. So what really excites me is getting Ancient grind, because I've been having 1 or 2 rune here and there. The grinds make all the difference. What do we get here? We still get garbage anyway. So that's it for my Ellunia B5 guide discussion video. I'm not too sure what you're gonna call this, but that's it for me for now. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something from this. And if you want to learn about Team for Honor Dungeon, which I also farm a little bit, let me know in the comment section down below. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.